Good evening. Oh, sorry. The reason we're jumping is I had a 40-kilogram German Shepherd at my feet, and he's still here. Good way to start the program. And as soon as I started speaking, he's jumped up. Didn't know what was going on. He's like a big, adorable cat. He just sits at my feet when he can. He's about to head off to the corner. What are you doing? Oh, my God. Sorry, everyone. Dogs. Oh, goodness me. Got a fright when I started talking because I've been up here preparing, sort of preparing for this. I've had one of those weeks this week, where I've had the flu, still got the flu. I'm pumped up on Codral, so I'm feeling better at the moment. And then my emails decided to crack it, and they've got their own little virus. So I haven't been able to log into anything because a lot of like Canva, you get a code go to your emails. So if your emails aren't working, I can't log on to Canva. So I've had to go back through all my emails and delete a bunch. And basically my disk space is full because of all the spam bloody emails I get, like everyone else says. So every now and again, I've got to go through them. I should have a better firewall, and I should do this more regularly. But anyway, so I've had one of those days, and he hasn't been out much because of it, especially because of my flu. So if I'm sounding too far away a little bit or look a bit far away, that's because I've got this 40-kilogram German Shepherd at my feet. So anyway, let's try that again. Welcome, everyone, to the Eureka Conservative Podcast on this Tuesday, the 2nd of December. We're in the Christmas season, so compliments of the season to everyone out there. For all of you fellow Christians like me, hopefully you can get a bit of Christ in your heart and God in your heart and enjoy this festive season despite all the challenges we face as a society. So, I just want to check. Sorry, guys, that's put me off a little bit. I just want to... Yeah, it's working. Thank God. All right. Good. Oh, we got an interesting night out of us because I haven't been able to get onto Canva. I haven't been able to do... I've got a policy announcement, but to add to our other policy announcements at last, we've gone a bit quiet the last 4 weeks. There's been lots to talk about, and I've been a bit slack. Work's got to be the priority. I've got to pay my bills. It's got to be busier. So it's going to slacken off now. So over this Christmas, New Year period, I should be able to get on once a week. Unlike those in the media or our politicians, I won't be taking a time off outside the public holidays. So I'm sure many of you are in the same boat. I wish I could get the whole of January off next year maybe. But no, I'll be pushing on through and trying to get everything set for a big 2026, I hope. So I'm hoping a lot of you are in that same boat. So anyway, here we are on the Eureka Conservative. And tonight, this next policy announcement was inspired by Jacinta Allen and Albo. Two things on the weekend: the Metro Tunnel, which has been over budget by billions, and also Albo and his little fake marriage and how much that cost the taxpayers. So our next policy, look, the amount of overspend by our bureaucracy is incredible. One, we have too many bureaucrats. We have too many departments. We're going to build this policy as to where there's some overview on getting rid of unnecessary spending, unnecessary positions, unnecessary departments, and then those that remain, cutting them right back, getting government out of our lives. So first one, for example, that could go is this E-Safety Commission. In Victoria, the next one can go, which I'm glad the Libs have said they'll repeal, is this second seat of parliament for the treaty. There's a whole bunch within the Indigenous industry, as I call it, that we could get rid of. It's not closing the gap, it's a rot. NDIS needs a big raise again going through it, as Bob Hawke used to say. And politicians need to have the courage to attack these overspends. People don't want to attack the NDIS because they'll be painted as being awful, mean people who don't care for the the less well off who've got some sort of issue. Now, we all supported the NDIS predominantly, the vast majority, I think, of Australians, because we could see it was actually going to give support to those who really needed it, who gave up a lot of their time to look after, kids who have issues. Their children have issues. But it's been rorted ever since because they never put the parameters in. But no one wants to take it up because they'll be painted as a cruel arsehole. Same thing with the Indigenous. No one wants to take on that and there's extra spend there because they'll be painted as a racist. No one will want to take on the LGBTQI community and what they get out of the government because they'll be painted as a bigot. Forget about acting in the country's best interest. It's always about not being labelled something. So we've got to find politicians with the courage of not being labelled. And whatever you think of it, after a little burqa issue, stunt, whatever you want to call it, and you might agree with her or don't. I don't agree with her on everything, but she'll speak her mind. So good on Pauline for speaking her mind the other day. I think she's got a long way to go. I think all our minor parties have got a long way to go. I think our major parties have got a long way to go. But anyway, the whole point of the Eureka Conservative podcast is to come up with some policy ideas and allow others, if they wish to put meat to the bones and then present it to our politicians to give them some courage to act. And tonight we will be announcing Australia's version of Doge. For those who don't know, Doge was the Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy idea. Elon Musk ended up pushing it, where it basically looked into every root and branch of every government department to find out where there was cuts to be made, where they could save the taxpayers plenty of dollars. Now, because I haven't been able to get access to Canberra, I can't do one of my normal little presentations. So what I thought I'd do anyway, hold on, just one tick. It was pretty hot up in this office today, so I've got the aircon banging on the background. That's better. Sorry. Forgot to take it off. It's an old one, so it makes a lot of noise like me. Maybe some would argue unnecessary noise like me. So anyway, we've got to get to a point in Australia where we not only can cut back on savings, not only can get rid of some of these public bureaucrats out of our system so we don't have to pay the useless bastards, because predominantly that's what they are, and a lot of these useless departments. So, the country has a chance to come back from the ridiculous debt that it's in. If we can reduce that debt, we can reduce inflation, we can reduce a lot of things, we can hopefully make a lot of things more affordable, like housing, and get this country on a much better platform to make an economic comeback or to consolidate what we've already got. We can't keep spending in the way we're spending. It's insane. If you or I tried to do it like this, one would probably go bankrupt, and two, probably if we were, for example, the head of a company or a business, you'd be facing criminal charges. Our politicians, our head bureaucrats should face similar criminal charges if they spend money unnecessarily. So that would be the whole point of Doge. So I'm going to share a few screens from the American Doge and a bit of the AI overview, because I can't do a Canva presentation tonight. I'll have that up ready for next week. Touch wood. So let's go into screen share. That's the Doge device. There we go. So just quickly, Department of, where am I? Okay. So this is the AI, just to give you a quick rundown of what we're doing. I just want to check I've got that. Department of, there we go. So the Department, I'm on the wrong page again. Department of Government Efficiency. Doge, so just substitute that for Australia, is the federal initiative under the second Trump administration that aimed to use technology, including artificial intelligence, to modernize government operations, cut spending, and eliminate regulations. Sound good? It was announced in November 2025 that Doge no longer existed. That was just recently. Doge, established by executive order in January 2025, was an advisory body and not a cabinet-level department created by Congress. I think we need something that's got a bit more teeth than just being an advisory body. So I would say in Australia, we definitely need to make this a part of government that oversees every government department. Elon Musk was widely seen as its driving force and de facto leader until he cut back his work in May 2025. Key aspects of Doge AI implementation included regulatory analysis. Doge developed and deployed an AI tool to review the federal code and create a delete list with the goal of eliminating 50% of federal regulations. That is something we desperately need here in Australia. Now, unlike over there, I would be suggesting that this not only goes for federal departments, but state-based ones as well. Data access and analysis. Doge teams were embedded in various federal agencies, including the IRS, Social Security Administration, and Department of Education, and gained unprecedented access to sensitive data, which was then reportedly fed into AI software for analysis of spending and operations. Again, can't see anything wrong with that. Need more of that. Workforce reduction. Oh, here we go. AI tools were reportedly used to automate aspects of workforce reduction initiatives, including updating pre-existing software designed to facilitate large-scale layoffs. We definitely need to halve our bureaucracy at least. Internal tools. Doge developed a custom chat box called GSAI for the General Services Administration and reportedly used a Meta AI model to review federal worker emails. Brilliant. Let's see what these bastards are up to. Efficiency claims and concerns. Proponents claim the use of AI would save hundreds of billions of dollars by identifying fraud and waste. Critics, however, as you're always going to have in this, raise significant concerns about the lack of transparency, the potential for using sensitive government and data to train private company AI models, cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and the cut first, fix later approach that critics argue could have had devastating real world consequences. That's the deep state, squirming and squealing, all bullshit. In November 2012, it was announced, which is disappointing. In November 2025, it was announced that Doge had ceased to exist, with most of its tasks assumed by the Office of Personnel Management. The status of its initiatives and data usage remains a subject of controversy and ongoing audits. So that's the deep state fighting back. Let's go into the Doge actual website. And this is an interesting read. So this is from the Department of Government Efficiency. What they're claiming and what others are disputing is in their time, they've saved $214 billion, a combination of asset sales, contract lease cancellations and renegotiations, fraud and improper payment deletion, grant cancellations, interest savings, programmatic changes, regulatory savings, and workforce reductions. Amounts saved per taxpayer in America. Per taxpayer, the amount is calculated using an estimate of 101 million individual taxpayers, and that amount was $1,329.19. As it says there, we are working to upload all of our receipts in digestible and transparent manner, consistent with applicable rules and regulations. To get started, listed below are a subset of contract, grant, and lease cancellations, representing 30% of total savings. So it was massive. It's a pity it's been wound up and taken up by another department. I think that's a mistake. And as any of you who watch me long enough on this, I'm a big fan of Trump, but I think this was a mistake. I don't care, it might not have saved as much. I'm a big fan of Scott Bessent, but apparently him and Elon Musk didn't go through. But this is the whole purpose, giving leaders of industry, and Musk was prepared to do this. I respected him for it. Leaders of industry to come as an advisory body to say you should be cutting here. I would say you need to recruit half a dozen leaders of industry, get some people who've got some courage, but also people who aren't going to be worrying about their back because of polls and politics and all this sort of thing. And they've got open slather on our bureaucracy, just open slather, and it's permanent. Now, whether you want to call it a department or an advisory body, whatever, it's got to have teeth. The problem with an advisory body, it gives advice and then the departments and politicians can ignore it. We've got to find a way. We have an independent body that sits outside of Parliament that has been given a brief on what their role is, and no politician or bureaucrat can push back against it. If, for example, our politicians, they want to create another department, I would say they need to get rid of one. It's like legislation. You bring in new legislation, you got to get rid of old legislation, one for one. So we're not continuously growing our bureaucracy. If you want to appoint new staff, you've got to get rid of other staff. There's got to be a limit on spending to our bureaucracy, and it's got to be a lot less than what it is, and it can't be more than what we earn. It's just like a household budget, just like a business. I can't go out there and put on 40 staff when I can only afford 10. I'll end up going out the back door because I can't pay those staff. And that would be illegal for me anyway, because I know I don't have the cash flow to go out. So I'm trading insolvently. I can face criminal charges for that if I do that in a business or as a company. So why don't our politicians and our bureaucrats face exactly the same issue? So on the weekend, we had Jacinta Allen, pounding her chest about the Metro railroad and new stations and all this money that they've spent. For example, a judge could look into that and say, have we spent that money wisely? Have we got the biggest bang for our buck? How much money has been wasted? Other countries, could they do this in a better way? And for every dollar that goes over the cost of what we should have paid, there should be some accountability coming back. People need to lose their positions. People need to be put up on charges. If in a government bureaucracy, they've said, no, this will cost 20 billion and it ends up costing 200 billion. They should lose their jobs. They should be up on charges. They're taking my money, they're taking your money, and they're basically stealing it to fund their own little next election. Because that's what this whole Metro tunnel bullshit's all about. Hey, look at us. And give Dan Andrews credit. He sold this pup for ages. Look at all the work we're doing. Look at what we're doing. He did it for 2-3 elections. And he tried to make out he was a can-do premier. But he wasn't a can-do premier. What he did do was send us spiraling into debt. And our future generations are going to be paying for it. So we've got to find a way, like Kenneth did back in the 90s, to try and recover this. And this is not just at state level, it's at federal level, it's every state. We've got to get our government debt back into the black, or as close to as we can. And we've got to have a pathway for getting out of debt. And then we've got to put in place how we never get back in this position ever again. It's not hard. You're going to have so much money, a certain amount of money coming in. Don't spend more than that money. And if you're going to spend more than that money, there should be a requirement to show you how in 5 years you're going to pay it back. We're not going to be paying back a lot of this debt for 5 generations. Forget 5 years. So, there's got to be a department of government efficiency. And if Albo wants to, or any politician, Albo, Morrison, Liberal, Labor, One Nation, Greens, if they want to implement a new department, they want to put in new politicians, they want to create new seats, it's got to go through this Department of Efficiency, and they've got to rubber stamp it and say, listen, this is feasible. This is well planned. We can do it. If it's not, for example, we should be on this renewables bullshit. There should have been a Department of Government Efficiency that we can all trust that says this is a good idea or a bad idea. Now, it doesn't take much common sense to realize that this was a bad idea. We all see it. Our electricity bills are going up. We're not doing anything for the environment. If anything, we're damaging the bloody environment. How many native wildlife have we killed in clearing things for these wind turbines? How many bird life have we killed? It's just insane. And yet people are going, oh, well, we've done what we should have done. No, we haven't. We're still important. We're still exporting all our coal and all our minerals to other countries that are using our minerals to advance themselves, but we can't use it. So it's not doing anything for emissions. It's just the biggest con you've ever seen. And it's bizarre that so-called educated people are still falling for this nonsense. It's just bizarre. So, that's our Department of Doge. We'll get that up. I want to, I'm putting all this out to people. I'm not getting a lot of feedback. I've got to admit, I was hoping I could get, as we go over, people with smarter brains than me. And hopefully there's a few libertarians out there, all right, who can help me out with this, because, you're big into cuts and getting rid of bureaucracy. Give me some of your advice. I'm happy to adopt some of yours to add this. This is where conservatives and libertarians, I think, share common ground. We want to reduce the size of government. We want to give people a lot of their taxes back. We want to be low tax, small government, and just cover the things we need to as a government without going into ridiculous spending splurges like we do. So, what do we do, though, when Labor get in? So if by inputting and legislating a Department of Government efficiency on all governments, no matter their ideology or political bent, maybe that's something we can do to make sure that all governments have the reins put on them. Because if you don't put the reins on them, they're going to spend like crazy come election time. Albo will do it again this next election. All right. Jacinta Allen, she's going to she doesn't care. She's run us into debt. She's going to promise the world to voters. And you know what? Sadly, a lot of the voters are stupid enough to do it. As a part of our Department of Government efficiency, our Doge, all electoral promises will have to go this to meet expectations on financial responsibility. So if a government goes in and saying promising the world, that Department of Doge, that Department of Government efficiency has got to come out and say, hey, this is not a good idea. We can't afford this. This is crazy, and people at least put the doubt in some people's heads. So whether we can go further than that, I'm not too sure. But there's got to be a rein put on these politicians because the politicians can't put the reins on their own spending. They're not, outside a few, they're just not capable of doing it, which is hurting the rest of us. So that's it, the Australian Doge. We're going to take Elon Musk's idea and hopefully make it better, but also make it permanent and get our spending under control. So anyway, that's our latest policy announcement. All right. So I'll make that more official before next week. So we'll go over it quickly again before we make another one. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Time. Oh, I should just double check. Don't think I'll have many on tonight because I've been feeling in bed sick all week and feeling sorry for myself. So I haven't done any sort of, not that I do much promo anyway, but usually I give everyone 24 hours notice. This one I gave everyone 5 minutes notice. So, I'm not too sure how many we'll have watching tonight. That doesn't matter. I still chat about and then I share it and everyone can watch the replay if they so wish to do so. There we go. I'm on. Sorry, guys. I'm just checking. What?
I'm just putting the final touches on Earth. Never ignore your dog's instincts.
How did I do that? Sorry, guys. I'm just checking.
Sorry, guys. I'm just checking.
There we go.
I'm just putting the final touches on Earth. Never ignore your dog's instincts. How do I do that?
It's funny looking at yourself when you're trying to do this. I'm trying to get the mute button. There's no mute button. Oh, there it is. Now I can have a good look at it. That's interesting. It doesn't tell you. I'm looking on my phone just to see what's coming up on the live stream to see if there's anybody either watching or there's comments or anything like that. And it doesn't look like there is, but it's saying it doesn't say how many viewers I've got. That's interesting. 19. Okay, well done, guys. Got 19 viewers. Now I see. I'm getting slowly better at this stuff. And not bad for a boomer, but I'm getting the idea. I'm sending out a big challenge this week to a lot of people who have been asking about coming on because I'm sort of getting sick. I'm feeling lonely all here by myself every week. So it was great to have Scott Challen on. We have invited a bunch of people on. They don't want to come on, I don't think. So, for example, from the marches, I've invited Beck Freedom and Monica Schmidt to come on through X Exchanges. Don't think they want to bar me. A lot of the NSN types said they were going to get me Joel Davis to come on and have a chat. Haven't done it. I've had a lot of my libertarian friends. I've invited them on, not taken it up. I've invited Jared Rennick on. Jared, you haven't taken it up. That's why I've got a lot of time for Scott Challen. Scott Challen, if you're listening, good on you, mate. Scott came on. I don't know what's so scary about me. I'm just an old boomer. Am I that boring? I think people want to hear from you guys. At certain points, I'll push back, but I think if anyone watched the Scott Challen interview, we have a discussion. What's there to be scared of? Will I push back? Yeah, hell yeah. I'd love to get John Ruddock on here. I know he never come on. Let's see if he's not the coward I think he is. And look, if he comes on, he'll have my respect. We'll have a discussion. I'll certainly be trying to get some answers from him on a certain few things, but I'll talk to anyone. Get me a Labor Party MP on. That'll be fun. Get me a Teal member on. That'll be fun. I've approached all the LNP guys. They're not coming on. So isn't it interesting? They'll only go on to this is both Labor and Liberal and Greens and all this sort of shit. They'll only go on to certain podcasts, and I'm not a huge podcast by any shape or form. Thank God the dog's back on his couch. Oh, beautiful sunsets. I wish I could show you it. Oh, my God. It doesn't come up that well on the screen, but that is a magnificent. I love this office with the view of the bay. For those who follow me on my live stream, oh, my God, that's an amazing sunset. Sorry, I've been distracted. But people, they should be coming on and embracing anyone who runs a podcast, not just me. I'm just a basic podcaster. I don't have any studio. This is my studio, my upstairs office. My mic is in my laptop. Don't have fancy equipment. Just get on here and talk crap and have an opinion. So I'm not too sure why people hesitate to come on. Come on with this old boomer. Let's see what you got. And, we're getting a larger audience every week we do this. Our impressions are going up quite nicely. Not massive. It's I think we get about 500 impressions a week. So compared to the big influencers, that's nothing. I was listening to Candace Owens today, and she's got something like, I don't know what she said. I was listening and going, oh, my God, that was 200 million impressions. And I'm going, my goodness. Well, little wonder X have still got her up. She talks rubbish. She's insane. But for, every time she gets on, she gets 200 million impressions. She would be making an absolute fortune, that woman. Maybe she's not as insane as what I think. Talk rubbish, be insane, and you'll get a lot of impressions. I'm never going to do that, not me. But good luck to her for doing it. I'm sure a lot of people like me are watching. We'll get back to her in a tick. So anybody out there that wants to come on, I do have a couple of guys. I did have one guy, can't remember his name, who sent me a request to come on, but I said, yeah, come on, just let me know when and where, gave all that, and then he never followed up. And I do have another guy in my DMs. There's part of your DMs where you have like a silent DM, which I didn't know about, and I'll look in there, so I'll get onto him next week. Random guys I don't know, but that's okay. They can come on, and I will be approaching people that have already been on in the run-up to Christmas to get here. So just so we get on to that. So time when the glasses come on, it's time to get onto our share screen on Twitter, and let's have a look at the news of the week. I can get rid of all these Department of Doge things now, and I'll just double check that. Yep, sorry guys, I'm checking the chats, making sure I don't have anyone on there. No. So time to get on to the old Twitter. Am I sharing? Yes, I am. I want to get into my bookmarks. And we've had a few interesting outside the things. We'll go politics first. And this group is to provide information and discussion to push for an audit into Indigenous funding. Billions of taxpayers' dollars are spent annually. Where is the money going? And more importantly, why isn't it helping to bridge the gap? Let's have a listen, because this is down the road of the policy announcement.
So it is $886,521 for one room.
For 2024-25, that was the cost for that project, yes, Senator.
Right, so there are maybe additional costs outside that financial year for that same room?
Associated with that room, yes.
Okay, how much is that?
So in 23-24, there's associated costs with the fourth party room project of $452,762. The $886,522 that you've already referenced in 24-25. And in 25-26, we've had associated costs of $289,714 with the fourth party room project.
For those who don't know, this is a party room for the Greens. This is what the Greens have spent of yours and my tax dollars for their own party room in the federal parliament.
Right. Is my maths right? $1.6 million for one room?
For the fourth party room project, yes.
Right. Okay, I'll start again. I thought $886,521 was bad. $1.6 million is worse. So you can build a very nice, brand new family home, 4 bedrooms for $400,000. Have a look at the volume builders, that's very standard. You can build a nice family home for $400,000. Why does it cost nearly 4 times that much to build one room in Parliament House?
Authorised by Senator James Paterson, Liberal.
Good question. And Department of Doge will sort that out. It's something, they never saw it in the way I would like them to. Or maybe I've just put them into the wrong one. So that's the Greens. $1.6 million for one room they have spent on their party room. This was a while ago. I want you to listen to this. This woman is insane. Annika, so some young people with the support, and I give him credit, John Ruddock. I'll give credit where it's due. I'm not a fan, but with the support of John Ruddock, they're taking on through the High Court this youth ban. Listen to what this woman says about those kids.
And we stand ready to defend any legal challenges that come our way on behalf of the 120,000 Australian parents who asked us to pass this law and to protect their kids from the harms of social media. But, Mr Speaker, while Labor delivers, the threats to these laws have come from parliamentarians who voted for these laws to happen. Mr Speaker, for the past 6 months, the Shadow Minister for Communications and her far-right co-conspirators have done everything they can to erode trust in the law they passed. Yesterday, coalition senators were doing the dirty work of the social media platforms, co-signing a bill to repeal the bill and throw Australian kids to the sharks. They are
to the sharks. So she's talking social media, the social media companies, who the ALP have allowed those sharks to have access to our kids' for use. The whole thing is a nonsense.
dog whistling about needing a digital ID to access social media, despite the fact the Senate passed a coalition amendment which prohibits platforms from requiring ID, and with any company caught forcing users to hand over their ID facing fines of up to $10 million. And in a cosmic sign of events to come, Mr Speaker, yesterday the Shadow Minister for Communications threw her previous coalition leader under the bus, saying that in hindsight she probably would not have supported the law. What? There's a
fair enough. That's fair enough. I like that in a politician. In hindsight, you can make mistakes. If you can review it and kick it out, that's great. These guys are not only digging a hole, they're digging a deeper hole.
Feel to their chaos, Mr Speaker, but we will not accept that chaos misleads young Australians. If the current leader of the opposition supports protecting children from the harms of social media, then stand up, join the government in backing Australian parents and making sure this law is a success. Anything short of that, Mr Speaker, is a complete capitulation to big tech and to even bigger political threats. And we
she is a very dangerous woman, this one. There's a lot of dangerous women in the ALP ranks. She is as dangerous as any of them. We all should keep an eye on her. She is loving this totalitarian rubbish. This is like, in many ways, COVID all over again. I don't know what is with the ALP politicians. The Libs are bad. The ALP politicians are worse. Give them a bit of power and it goes to her head. For those who haven't seen it, which will go into the bookmarks right now, I'm hoping I've got it there. Eureka Conservative. Here we go on this one. Listen to this rubbish.
Questions at the end. Thanks. Thank you, Minister, so much for your leadership. We know that technology can be used as both a tool and a weapon. We want it to be a lifeline for women, but throughout the course of eSafety's 10 years, we've been consistently training frontline workers because we know that technology-facilitated coercive control is almost ubiquitous in family, domestic, and sexual violence situations. So, with the generosity of DSS, we have stood up the world's first national technology-facilitated abuse service. We've had 20,000...
Try and say that quickly when you're drunk.
Frontline workers utilize our self-help hub, where we have technology audits and updates beyond the cat feeders and the refrigerators. A perpetrator can use a Lime bike. And today we're talking about smart cars because they are essentially computers on wheels today.
So this woman, and Eureka Wells, that's her boss, they want to get into every part of your life. This is ridiculous. So, for example, they're saying smart cars, technology, social media, they're all the tools for nefarious people to do bad things. So instead of going after those nefarious people, they're going after the tools that we all use to deny us our freedoms within our own life. So whether it's social media, smart cars, in Victoria it's the machetes, they don't attack the actual perpetrator, they attack the tool. It's insane. The whole thing, like for example, I had a person I knew down in the country who used a car to commit suicide. All right? This whole thing of protecting kids, to protect them from self-harm, suicide, whatever, they banned social media. Doesn't that mean if that's the case across the board, we should ban everyone from driving cars because someone could jump in a car and kill himself if they, were having such depression they couldn't take it anymore? I mean, the whole thing's insane. It's like the machete bins. What criminal is going to put their machete in there? But people who have actually genuine reasons for having a machete have put them in these bins, but the criminals are still walking out on the streets with their machetes. That's not stopping anything. So now they're going on about smart cars. These bastards, or I should say these bitches, are going to come from every part of your life. There's no doubt in my mind that a digital ID is on its way. And what you've got to be careful of here is they use a smokescreen. So for right now, the smokescreen is this social media ban, and it's all about protecting children. And if you don't support us on protecting children, you're an evil person who has no regard for children. So people don't want to put their head up above the parapet. But at the same time, they're going to use this, I've got no doubt, to bring in a digital ID. They're talking about facial recognition. Facial recognition works glove in hand with the digital ID. Just ask any person who's escaped China. So we are at some stage going to have that digital ID, the facial recognition. That'll be on every adult. And it's not about protecting kids. It's so these bastards can control every... I shouldn't keep calling them bastards. I should call them bastards and bitches. The B&Bs. They can control every part of our life and they can control the narrative. Now, if you remember going back, a lot of this started when we had those stabbings in Sydney in that shopping centre. And to deflect from that, they started talking about the impact of social media and they suckered in Peter Dutton into this nonsense. It was the worst thing the Liberals could have ever done. And they're going to have to, like they dumped net zero, the Liberals are going to have to dump this because it's not going to be popular once it comes in. But that's entirely up to them. But I'm pretty sure her boss, Eureka Wells, comes on after this. I'll see.
About an online safety advisor.
And by the way, what's the pronoun for this individual standing behind her? Is that he, him, she, her, us, them? What is it? I'm not too sure. If anyone could educate me, please tell me. I'm lost these days. Talking of things, that should be a bigger priority, the machete ban's going really well in Melbourne. Let's have a look at it.
Good evening. A principal has been stabbed and a school in Melbourne southeast has gone into lockdown following a fight involving 2 staff members.
Students were forced to hide in their classrooms as the violence unfolded. Selena Zhang has the latest.
With a bandage on his arm, a staff member is flanked by police, wheeled into an ambulance on a stretcher after violence erupted at Keysborough College.
That's kind of shocking, to be honest.
I just didn't think it would be our school. Yeah. It was crazy to hear.
It was around 3 o'clock this afternoon when students went into lockdown. Parents received a message saying, "We've had to initiate a lockdown. I can confirm all students are safe and any students still inside the school will be allowed to leave shortly." 9 News has been told the principal was slashed following an altercation involving another staff member. Both men have been taken to hospital.
It's crazy because teachers are meant to be the ones keeping us safe. So the fact that someone did that to another teacher. It's crazy.
A place of learning flooded with emergency services as panicked parents rushed to pick up their children.
And we'll go live now to Selena, who's in Keysborough tonight. Selena, do we know what sparked this fight?
Not yet, Alicia. Both men are still in hospital with that staff member now under police guard. Now, police have stressed both men received non-life-threatening injuries, but it is still, today's incident has raised a lot of concerns around safety and security in schools. Just last week, a student was stabbed at a primary school in Berwick, and some of the former students we've spoken to at Keysborough College today, who've only just graduated around a month ago, say there was a renewed focus on security at the school, but whether that's been enough has definitely been called into question.
Crazy. So they're out here trying to ban kids off social media to protect them, but they can't even protect them in our bloody schools, and they can't even protect their staff. So, you know, this is in Victoria where the machete ban was coming. They're all pumping their chest about the Metro Tunnel, but people can't even be safe going to work in their house, in their car, walking in the city, you're going to the supermarket, going to... You got to have one eye over your shoulder all the time. I know I do. It's insane. The whole thing. Like it says here, it was a stabbing. It is alleged a male assaulted another man at secondary school about 3 p.m. Officers quickly arrived on scene and arrested a man and will be interviewed. The victim has been taken to hospital with no life-threatening injuries. So, thought I'd share this one. The name she follows me. I did know, you know, got a lot of followers. So, but I came across this today and I thought this was brilliant. So have a bit of a listen to What the Fuck. Great name.
So we all know how the treaty thing came along with in Victoria. If you don't know, I'll put a link to the video that explains it all in the comments. But yesterday, treaty was given royal assent. And they had this like big celebration, and they did this. She did a speech. You wouldn't have heard much about this because there was little to no media coverage about this. I wonder why. But I had to point out the absolute disgust I have in this government. Right. So in her speech, she goes through the whole, we've been through in 2016, the Victorian government began consultations, blah, blah, blah. I'll put this screenshot in the comments. But then she said, the statewide treaty act, and I quote, is the expression of the democratic will of the people of Victoria made law.
Bullshit.
She continues, this law from the people and by the people's democratic representatives follows more than a decade of peaceful consultation and negotiation.
Bullshit.
Behind closed doors that we weren't allowed to know about, mob only. It is a profoundly democratic and practical expression from the people of Victoria.
Bullshit.
When the people of Victoria voted no to this same thing. So in my video, you'll see that they actually backdoored it and went against the wishes of Victorians. So I don't see how that's democracy, but anyway.
If they actually wanted this treaty in Victoria to get up, wouldn't it have been better for them to give the point, and they're talking democracy, all this, wouldn't it have been better for them to actually put a referendum up on this at the last election? Would it have gotten up then? The problem is the Liberals were so bad last election, people couldn't vote. Should see this sunset. It's incredible. But the Liberals were so bad last election that no one could come around and vote for them, despite all the crap that Andrew's put us through in COVID. I'm still not sure. I'm not sure about others, but I'm still suspicious about that result. I don't know. I don't know how Dan got up in that last election. But anyway, either there's a lot of dumb Victorians or there was something suspicious going on. But if they believe in democracy so much, simple, put it up on a referendum. Let's see how it goes then.
And she says, this day we mark an historic achievement of modern parliamentary democracy. This woman says democracy, I think like over 10 times in this one short speech, right?
Jacinta Allen wouldn't know what democracy is if it bit her on the F word. You can figure that one out.
and an achievement from which people of good faith can build a future which addresses the circumstances from which we have come and those we wish to create together. Word salad.
Who wants to create anything that she's in charge of together? No one.
We, the people of Victoria, have come from many lands to this place, whose state boundaries are from Murray River in the north to the sea in the south, and from the 141st meridian of longitude in the west to the dividing range in the east, land occupied many thousands of years by First Peoples who
comes up with this bullshit? That's don't forget, every time you read something like this, a statement, this is actually something written by what I was talking about earlier, a bureaucrat, an advisor, a strategist, someone who's employed by you and me, writes this gobbledy bullshit.
Called these places by other names. We have created and continued to develop this parliamentary democracy which welds us together as people. With this statewide treaty act, we have committed to learning how to walk together across our two worlds.
Committed to walking together. All right. What percentage is of the Victorian population Indigenous? Apparently it's below 99%. Someone can correct me if that is wrong. I will take that a step further. How many of those Indigenous who claim to be Indigenous are actually legitimately Indigenous? A lot of the ones I see claiming to be Indigenous look anything but. They could go down to the North Pole and have a family reunion with Santa and still look in place. So it's ridiculous. This is why we need Doge.
2. Division. So when we voted on the referendum, that was for the federal level, that was to amend the Constitution, right? So that failed. So what Labor's done in Victoria and what they're going to do with the rest of Australia, so prepare yourselves in other...
She's exactly right there. If ALP win next election, these treaties are coming in across the country.
States, is that they're making it legislation and taking the voice away from the people and leaving it to the parliamentarians to vote on and for it to get through on parliamentary votes.
Great point. That's not democracy.
Instead of the will of the people. Some good democracy there.
She makes some great points. I gave her a follow. I suggest you look her up. I love the name. What the fuck? 8.32. I don't know what the 8.32 means, but yeah, she made some great points. So I gave her a follow. What do we got here? Declaring war on Germany, blah, 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 blah. Tucker's just an idiot. Yeah, that's going back a bit now. So hasn't been a lot on. I'll go one last look into, I made a few comments today. Sorry, guys, I have been, One Nation's been very interesting lately. Like I said, I've been feeling sorry for myself in the flu. I did make a few comments today. So there is that one. That's our... This Annika Wells, Miss Totalitarian. We should call her Annika Totalitarian Bitch, because that's what she's. What isn't Annika Walker out of Star Wars? But he was a good guy. Anyway, she's threatened to further expand the under-16 social media ban to more websites if children migrate onto different platforms. Well, there was a really good point made today by someone that they've banned a bunch of these platforms, but the ones they haven't banned is ones that kids don't go on too much. But a number of those ones that kids will now maybe look at are actually frequented by adults with nefarious agendas. So, for example, pedophiles. So they're actually saying they're trying to protect kids, but they're funneling kids to platforms that could be quite dangerous to kids. Only a government full of idiots could do something like this. It is real-time, yes, minister bullshit stuff. That's the Keysborough thing. What is that score? That was me from this afternoon. For those who did check my live stream this afternoon, I had two because I managed to get cut off in one. So anyway, so apologies for that. This guy annoys me. So, okay, I'll let you listen to this. Some of you will probably agree with this. I'll give you my thoughts here in a minute.
Are you Australian?
Yeah.
Do you call yourself an Australian?
Just piss off.
No Australian nationalists allowed?
Fake Australian nationalist. You are a Nazi.
I'm the fake Australian.
Yeah.
Why is a brown Jew trying to talk about Australia? Like, I don't understand. Like, does he think that any of us under the age of 30 believe that he's an Australian? I don't know about you, when I think of the land down under, I don't think of a brown, a self-righteous Jew. Avi Yemini, it's a funny name. That's the same Avi Yemini who was willing to put his life on the line for the IDF, never made his way to Australia's recruiting office. I hate to break it to you, Avi. We don't fall for this anymore. You are Jewish. You are not Australian. It does not matter how long you have lived in Australia. It doesn't matter how much you can walk around and speak with the Crocodile Dundee accent. You are not Australian. You're of the tribe. You're of the chosen. You have a place. My forefathers were dumb enough to let you have it, so go there. And then when you're there, hope to God that you can squeeze just enough money out of the American people to get your way militarily and not be doomed. Because we're not giving you any more money. We're sick of arrogant, sniveling faces of foreign voices coming into nationalist movements, policing how we speak, policing what we think, because it wouldn't be friendly to you. You're not Australian. You're not a patriot. Fuck off.
Are you Australian?
Interesting. So this William guy, William Live, he's only got 10,500 followers. He's based out of Washington. History wizard veteran. Woke right super soldier. Woke right wanker, I would say. Now, look, I don't care what you think of Avi. There's some things that Avi I agree with. There's some things I disagree with. I definitely think people could understand and question whether he's totally Australian first, because and I can understand this. He's got a love for his Jewish nation in Israel, and he's got a love for his people, just like I have a love for Christians. All right, there's no harm in that. But to say he's not Australian, now I don't care what this prick thinks, and I'll tell you why. Avi's our problem. If you think he's a problem, he's our problem. He's an Australian problem. If you think he's an asset, he's an Australian asset. Avi is an Australian issue. I don't think he handled this thing on the weekend well. I think he could have handled it better. In fact, I wish Avi would just stay away from it and let the other people who run the event do it. But he's looking for clicks. He's like Candace Owens. He's looking for clicks. And by taking on the NSN types, the Nazi types like Ozpil, he knows he'll get some clicks. All right? So that's why he does it. He should have kept his nose out of it, because I don't think it helps the cause of Reignite Democracy or Monica Schmidt, and I'm not a huge fan of them either, by the way. But whatever, it doesn't really matter who you're a fan of or who you're a fan not. These, whether we agree with them or not agree with them, they're Australians, they're our problem. Now, this guy's a groiper. He's from America, he's in Washington. If you follow Nick Fuentes and his groipers a lot, and this pisses me off with Tucker Carlson as well, they keep claiming they want not only to be American first, they want to be American only. So my issue with Tucker and Nick Fuentes and the groipers, if you want to be American only, why do you stick your nose into our issues? Avi's our issue. Piss off. He should take some of his own advice. And just quietly, we've had a lot of Australian Jews. One of the most famous Australian Jews was Sir General John Monash. There's been, literally hundreds of thousands of Jews in our history. So being Jewish and Australian is not a conflict. Whether people don't want to recognise that or not, they've played a really important role in building this country. There's others outside Sir John Monash. So, stick your ignorant nose up your ass, whatever it is, William Live, and stick to your American problems, because you've got enough over there and we've got enough over here without the likes of you and Tucker Carlson putting your ignorant minds into our business. If we want to piss off Avi, that's an Australian decision, not an American decision. And I don't like Americans telling us what to do when they claim to be American only. I'm Australian first, but I'm not Australia only. If you're not Australia only or you're not America only and you want to get in club things, okay. I'll respect your right to stick your nose in and have an opinion. But you're saying you're American only. That automatically eliminates you from Australian issues. Concentrate on your American only issues. Really annoys me. And the same goes for people who say they're Australian only. If you're Australian only, stop talking about Israel. If you're Australian only, stop talking about the Groypers and Tucker and all that. If you want to be Australian only, be Australia only. Stop saying you're Australia only, but then opining on everything that's going on around the globe. You can't have it both ways. And this guy tries to say, Avi Yemeni's got a Crocodile Dundee accent. What an idiot. I mean, seriously, some of these Groypers, I'm trying to be nice, try to understand it, but and I've talked to some of the Gen Z, and they're not all Groypers, they're not all NSM. That's a fallacy. In fact, most of them aren't. So I think a lot of them cannot stand them as much as I can't stand them. But anyway, like I said, I'm happy to talk to them. What else have we got? This is disgraceful. A remorseless African teenager has been jailed for killing this guy. So that means no remorse, and he got 12 years. So this is a young man. His family have lost him. He was a doctor. And if you don't know, I think these guys were trying to break into their car or a house, and he pursued him down the street, and he got stabbed and he died from his injuries. And that bastard took his life, took away what that family had, and he gets 12 years. And he didn't show any remorse. He should have got life. What the hell is going on in this country? Last one. Tell me if this is a loved up couple coming back from a honeymoon after their marriage. Just tell me what you think of this. There's Elbow. There's his missus. Do they look like a loved up couple on their honeymoon? Don't tell me this is a real wedding. I mean, goodness me. Wouldn't you be walking hand in hand? I mean, it's not like Elbow can't get a helper. Look at this. She doesn't know where to turn. Elbow's not interested in her. Just like what was it? The $275 we're going to get reduced on energy bill. It's full of shit. It was all a con. Just like climate change is a con. His wedding's a con. If you can't see that just watching this small clip, then I can't help you. They must be the most unloved, juiced up couple I've ever seen. And I can't believe this. Like I wrote out, last one, sorry. This is David Shoebridge from the Greens. We would virtually agree on nothing. But listen to this. The legislation is so bad, it's got me in furious agreement with the Green.
Sorry, Mr. Chisholm, telling a 14-year-old who's about to go, telling a 14-year-old who's about to leave school for 6 weeks, lose that social connection, lose their photos, their memories, their ability to engage socially on Instagram and Snapchat in 8 days' time, telling them that they'll get it back in 2 years' time when they turn 16. Is not dealing with the problem. Telling them that you might get your account back in 2 years' time, that's not dealing with the problem. And it's not isolated. We're talking over 2 million young people.
I think the government's very keen to ensure that young people and their social connections are enriched beyond social media, that young people should have a life and a whole range of experiences that are not restricted to a small number of social media platforms, particularly given the harms that those platforms create. Then on the broader benefits, I'll just turn to my colleagues. I'm actually with Shoebridge on that. That's how bad our government is going. Listen to it. Actually, I like it. Last one. This is how insane Candace Owens is.
Again, we're going to have to go through this class very quickly. America, the whole idea of what we learned in class about, the Revolutionary War, and we were fighting because, we didn't, the monarchy. Okay. England was not even under a monarchy at that time.
Really? Apparently the Yanks were fighting a British Empire that had no king. I'm sure, I can't remember, it was King George, I'm pretty sure, at that time. And I can find out while I'm doing this. I'm pretty sure. Let's find out who it was. Let's see who was king at the time of the American Revolution. Let's see. Yeah, I'm right. King George III. See? I know more. She's talking about class, and she's going, there was no monarch. Well, King George III would have liked to know that because he copped a bit of flack for losing that war. She's insane. She's got no idea. Her and Tucker's revisionism about World War II. King George III was the monarch and from a long line of monarchs, by the way.
Okay. And also, I have learned in recent years that really the whole history of America is like warring factions of Freemasons. That's the reality. Warring factions of Freemasons competing for American territory. Now,
right. So it had nothing to do with the Boston Tea Party, George Washington. Even though there was the British Army and naval forces were in America fighting a long war, a lot of their citizens getting killed was all the Freemasons. I'm sorry. If anyone keeps believing this shit, there are millions of people that probably do believe it crap. There I am again. I don't know where you go with it. If you want to follow it, if you want to believe it, that's fine. But she gets more insane by the day. There was a really good piece the other day. A guy got in trouble for it. And I've said this myself. Where the hell is a husband? I mean, your wife is getting the whole, or he doesn't care. He's got 3 kids with this woman. Surely do the right thing and get her off. She's going to have some real bad issues if this keeps going the way it is, because you can't make these sort of claims without being embarrassed ultimately. And it gets more insane by the day. And a lot of us, I'm one of them. I'm sorry. I put my hand up. I shouldn't do it. I'm watching it because I'm probably waiting for the downfall. So I don't watch it religiously, but when it comes up my feed, I'll have a quick look because the downfall's coming. It'll happen. And when it happens, it'll be a big crash. It'll be actually sad to watch when it does. And I think Tucker will go down as well at different times. So it'll be interesting. You haven't heard anything, for example, out of Tucker about the whole Venezuela issue. Trump could be on the verge of invading Venezuela in the next week. Who knows? But will they be critical of him on that as much as what they were with Iran? Because there's no Israel involved in this. This is America versus Venezuela, and it's all about the drugs. Tucker's got to be very careful here because he's spoken out a lot about the drugs that get fed into America. Well, he's a president who's trying to do something about it. Is he going to oppose him? And Trump is very good at wedging people. So it should be interesting. Anyway, that is enough for me. My voice is on the verge of going. We'll be back next week with more policy. Like I said to everyone, all the compliments of the season. We're going into Christmas. I love it around this sunset. You should see the sunset here. While I've been talking and going through that X stuff, I've been watching the sunset over Port Phillip Bay. Amazing. God is the greatest artist, And I know a lot of you know I'm a Christian, but my God, how you can see a sunset like that and not believe that there's something more powerful than us. It was so beautiful across I wish I could have shown you. I needed it on the mobile to be able to do it, but it's just finishing it off now. What is actually also beautiful at this time of year in Melbourne, especially around where I live and where I lived previously in Mulgrave. So on the bay side is the Christmas decorations that go up. Fantastic. I'll be taking Bozo Head here. Look at him. Tell me my dog does not have the best life. So look at that one. Don't German Shepherds have the most beautiful face? But he gets to snooze wherever he likes. He won't go out when it's raining, gets good feed, and he's pretty spoiled. But I'll take him I can't say the word, he'll go nuts. I'll take him for some big WALKs, and we'll go around looking at he actually, I think, enjoys it. And we go around looking at all the Christmas decorations. So I love this time of year, getting out, celebrating the birth of Christ, which should be the major thing, but seeing people in a bit of a more joyous mood. I hope you can find that with your loved ones, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your pets, whatever you got to do. If you're like me and you spend Christmas, like I'm a single person, so I spend my Christmases alone, but I find other ways that I can celebrate it. It never has bothered me, but I do really enjoy this time of year. The Christmas carols, the movies, it's a fantastic time of year. We should all embrace. Here he comes. Here he comes to say, he always comes to say goodbye. For some reason, he knows when I'm finishing off, as soon as I flash the screen at him, he knows I'm about to finish. He'll say goodbye, and then he'll get up on his couch. Does it every time. Even when I start, usually tonight he was under my feet. Usually he'd come up the couch to say hello. So dogs are amazing. So maybe if you don't have a dog, shut yourself one for Christmas. You could do a lot worse. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to be sending out some stuff very early this week about next week's episode. I'd like to finish off in our last couple of Christmas periods with a bit of a bang before we break for the Christmas break for the public holidays and coming back in January. So if you're interested in coming on board and talking all things politics, all things Aussie, all things everything, all things policy, all about that flag, send me a DM and we'll see you all next week. God bless, good night, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.